after multiple reports that the Miami Dolphins are going to try to add another cornerback to the secondary, we just got some huge news that Trumaine Johnson, who's one of the best man cover corners, probably the best young man cover corner in the NFL, is now on the trade block, which is outstanding news. I mean, I've discussed this before about should the Dolphins trade for a big-name cornerback. I'm a big believer in developing young talent, and I think our young talent in the secondary showed a lot of promise, especially on the outside, between Tony Lippett getting 4 interceptions, obviously Xavier Howard, who's going to be a very good corner, and then Byron Maxwell showed us a little something last year too. He got a lot of turnovers, he got some forced fumbles. I can't remember how many picks, but he got a lot of turnovers. So I'm happy with our secondary. I think our outside corners are very good. I think the only problem in the slot area would be our slot corner, which is Bob McCain, who's the biggest question mark. Now, would I be opposed to getting Trumaine Johnson? No. If we got Trumaine Johnson, that adds a legitimate number 1 corner. There's no question marks there if he's going to turn into one. He's already that. He's a legitimate number 1 lockdown man coverage corner in the NFL. And I don't think a lot of people know. I mean, I've talked about him. He's been in so many of my videos. If you guys are a long-time sub, you already know the spiel. Trumaine Johnson is one of the most underrated players in the NFL. I once made a top 500 players list, and he was like number 1. I think he was number 1 on my list. That was the year when he grabbed 7 interceptions. When you grab 7 interceptions, you shouldn't fly under the radar, and you shouldn't miss the Pro Bowl either. Trumaine Johnson is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Obviously, following up the 7 interception year, didn't have as good as a year. He only grabbed 1, but that's because teams did not throw his way. And if Richard Sherman can use that excuse, and I am too, because Trumaine, it's true. Because it's true that does happen. They just don't throw. The percentages aren't. A lot of teams play the percentages. And quarterback rating against Richard Sherman is really low, and same thing with Trumaine Johnson. You're not going to have a lot of success throwing towards Trumaine Johnson. And he really is one of the best quarterbacks, and he makes one of the best defenses go in the Rams defense. Trumaine Johnson's a big part of that defense. Him and Aaron Donald, I think, are one of the biggest parts, the components of that defense. I mean, Robert Quinn's there, obviously. They got people like, Alec Ogletree, there's people like that, but Trumaine Johnson sticks out among all those guys, which is pretty impressive because there's a lot of stars on that defense. So, like I said, again, and you talk about a man coverage corner, I'm talking about on the level of Aqib Talib. That's how elite this guy is at man coverage. He is a really good man coverage corner. And the only tape you could actually, this is actually ironic, the only tape you could actually put on about him where he just got picked on for an entire drive was when we played them against the LA Rams, obviously, when we went up there to LA and we had that comeback. Tannehill picked on him that entire drive, him and Devontae Parker did. And some of them was just beautiful throws, and that's just, you can't do anything to stop that. And it really was, all of them were, especially the one to the end zone, all of them. And obviously Devontae Parker is a freak. That's the only time you can actually put on tape. And you can put on tape the same thing with Richard Sherman. You can put on tape a lot of other people where they struggle. But Trumaine Johnson, you really can't. Trumaine Johnson is one of the better, like I said, he's young. He's one of the best man coverage corners in the NFL. And now, let's just say we do get him, which I would not be opposed to, and nor do I want to actively try to get him. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty happy with the talent we have here. But if we did get him, that's fine with me. I love the idea of it. I like Trumaine Johnson a lot. I think he's a superstar in the league. I think he's again, if you get a player, not a lot of teams have a player that they're in the top 5 in that category of, and Trumaine Johnson is. So I would love to have him, and he fits the criteria that we want in a corner, a big physical corner. He fits that. He's super athletic. And he puts the ball in the paint when he picks it off. He's amazing after the run, pick after the catch. Stats are off the charts. So, like I said, I'm not opposed to it. But if he did come to Miami, and again, like I said, I would love it because Trumaine Johnson is one of my favorite players in the league. But anyway, if he did come to Miami, how would that work? And that's a really good question because Trumaine Johnson is an outside corner. He really is. He's not an inside corner. He's never played inside corner. I think he may have. I don't really think he. Definitely not on a consistent basis. But I don't. He's only played outside corner. And then you look at our roster. We have Tony Lippett, obviously, who is a legitimate outside corner. I really don't think he can play inside. Then you got Xavier Howard, and then you got Byron Maxwell. Now, out of all 3 of those guys, who could move into the inside, I think would be Xavier Howard. He actually did play some nickel or slot corner last season, and he actually did pretty well. And I think I think he would fit that criteria. I think he would fit it a lot. And you know what? He could still use all of his talents there. And he's a big guy, but he's super athletic. And we saw that with DRC, with Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, how you can move a big guy into that slot corner role. And I think out of everybody there on our roster, between Tony, Byron, and Xavier, I think Xavier would fit that the most. So I guess if this did happen, our secondary in a dream scenario, this is how it would look. Trumaine Johnson would be obviously on the outside. Tony would obviously be on the outside. Or no, not Tony, my bad. Byron would be on the outside. And then you would have Xavier in the inside, which that's a pretty dang good secondary. In my opinion, this secondary is already talented. I already think this secondary is pretty talented. They caused a ton of turnovers last season. Actually, I think well over 50% of our turnovers came from our secondary, and that's pretty impressive. And I'm not talking about safeties alone. I'm talking just corners in general. Just got a ton of turnovers. So I like I said, I'm confident in the talent we have now. So if this is just at this point a luxury. So that is going to be it, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And I am Skaggs83, and I will see you guys in the next one.